I'm in the wilderness of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It's not all just going up and down mountains. Sometimes you gotta go into town to resupply and stuff, but this isn't a very pretty background, so let's just go back over here. That's better. A little bit of nature. Nice. So as I've been going through the Appalachian Trail in the Great Smoky Mountains, I have had not as much time to think as one would suppose. The Smokies are crowded, man. It is a prime tourist destination. And we've met people pretty much every single night in the shelters and whatnot. And it makes me think of what this place was like before all these tourists came. Before there was an AT, before there was Gatlinburg here with all of its tourist amenities. I think Bill Bryson called Gatlinburg appalling. And he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. But in my travels, I've learned of a Cherokee folk hero named Tsali, who is really beloved by the Eastern Band of Cherokee, and I want to tell you his story. Now keep in mind that this is greatly informed by Cherokee oral tradition and by legend as much as it is by anything else. But the story starts in 1835, when a small band of Cherokee in Georgia signed a treaty with the US government ceding their land to them. Now the government thought that this applied to all of the Cherokee, but the Cherokee here in North Carolina, Tennessee, they were not really about it. So several of them, even as, you know, the Indian Removal Act removed thousands of Cherokee from this area, several hundred ended up hiding out in the Great Smoky Mountains as fugitives. Now, Tsali and his family were among them. In the fall of 1838, a band of 4 soldiers, just a very small detachment, stumbled across his encampment, and Tsali and his family surrendered without resistance. But as they made their way down the mountains into an army camp, the soldiers apparently mistreated their captives. They prodded Tsali's wife with a bayonet to get her to keep moving and accidentally caused the death of his infant son. So whatever the reason, a little before dark that day, the natives turned on the soldiers, killing 1 and wounding 2, and disappeared back into the mountains. After that, they became outlaws. And General Winfield Scott, actually I think he was a major at that point, but it doesn't really matter. He was an officer in the U.S. Army, Civil War fame later. Just a friendly reminder that all of our heroes in blue during the Civil War, not always the best people. He basically sent this white merchant named William Thomas into the mountains to give Tsali an ultimatum, which was that if he gave himself up for the murder of this soldier, and not only actually give himself up, but his entire family, then the hundreds of Cherokees still living in the Great Smoky Mountains would be able to live there freely and without fear of molestation. So he did. He sacrificed himself. He marched down into civilization, ended up getting executed by firing squad, by actually Cherokee who were forced to do the deed. Tsali has gone down in history as one of the Cherokee's greatest heroes, and at least according to that oral tradition, because of him, the Eastern Band of Cherokees were allowed to live in their homeland until today, really. I mean, they're still here. Anyway, see you down the trail.